Strategy defines how you're going to get to from where you are to where you think you're going. And there are certain things that it's really critical to take into consideration when you develop the strategy. You want to make sure that the steps that you have to undertake are within the area of influence of yourself and those who are collaborating with you in terms of having to execute the strategy once it's put together. You want to be sure that you look for leverage points within the situation that you're developing so that you can actually get the greatest impact for the least amount of effort. You want to ensure that the time frame for the strategy is consistent with the environment in which you're operating. If you're in the middle of a burning building, it's generally not the time to develop a strategy for what you're going to do. It's more like time to pull the fire alarm and get everybody out. So you need to think about the time frame over which the strategy needs to address the situation. Having the necessary resources to effect the strategy is also appropriate, as is having enough money to execute it or implement it. If these aren't paid attention to appropriately, the strategy is more like a fantasy than an actual strategy. And the one thing that happens on an ongoing basis in organizations is that when people run into a performance degradation, the first assumption that they typically make is that wherever that performance degradation is, that the people need more help. So they end up doing implementing more accountability and control, which ends up actually just overloading the people that are having experiencing performance degradation, so that it leads to more performance degradation, and the cycle repeats. And it's a fundamental attribution error. It's absolutely almost always the wrong approach to dealing with the situation. So I just offer you that as something to think about, and I would investigate very intently before I came to the the thought that this is the approach that I ought to take. A couple more things that I think it's essential to remember is that the strategy must be feasible. So that's sort of a summary of all of these other elements, in that the people that have to implement the strategy have to believe that it's feasible. Otherwise, it sort of demotivates all of those involved for pursuing it. People are not interested in wasting their time, so that if they don't believe that the strategy is attainable, they won't put the effort into pursuing it. And the second thing, which is a variation on a quote from Russell Ackoff, the strategy must improve the whole. So that when you look at the the structure of the situation that you're proposing to implement, contrasted with the way the structure is at the moment, ensure that what you're going to implement actually improves the whole, as opposed to only improving part of it. Because when the experience has shown that when you improve part of it, it is more than likely that it will actually make the whole worse and result in other situations that need to be attended to by yourself or somebody else. So um, think on this long and hard as you're developing the strategy itself. And in the next segment, I will go ahead and begin to walk through the options of developing a strategy for network magic, the organizational dilemma that we've used in the last couple of sections in terms of trying to figure out what to do with their problem. So Hope you found this informative, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.